Hi, John Monroe here. Random person with a bike in Birmingham. I'm making a video this morning about roundabouts, riding a bike through roundabouts in Birmingham. Let me put this camera on the head strap on my head and go for a ride. I'm starting off here at South Port Loop. What is it called? South Loop Park? Yeah, South Loop Park. You can hear the construction next to me here. Okay, let's go. So, few reasons, it's quite windy, few reasons for this video today. I wanted to, well, I guess why make a video like this in general? As someone who has a bike and has no particular expertise about road engineering and the like, I wanted to make a video like a couple of the others that I've made because I want to be part of the conversation. I want to make a small contribution to the conversation about public space, bikes, cars, walking. And so that's why. But there's a few more specific reasons why I wanted to make something about roundabouts. So let me catch my breath as I get up this hill. And as I come to the first roundabout on this trip. Okay, heading here to the middle way. And filter in here. Oh, go ahead. Okay, here's the first one. This one's pretty easy, though I still find these totally scary. But I've been practicing a little bit and on smaller, quieter ones to get my sense of them, because if you're going somewhere, you need to use them, even though they're not designed for people on bikes or people walking. But that's another reason why I decided to make this video today, and that is because there's a new roundabout. That's where I'm heading, in Stetchford, which apparently just opened yesterday, and apparently it's got improved cycling and walking facilities as part of it. So I thought I'd ride over there and have a look. And on the way, navigate several roundabouts to get there. Most routes through Birmingham are going to involve negotiating a roundabout. So it'll be interesting to compare, hopefully, the new roundabout in Stetchford, which cost some number of millions of pounds, with these other roundabouts, which have not been upgraded for cyclists and pedestrian access or safety. Okay, here comes 5 ways. Oh, I'll be stopping here. So this is one of the city's major ones, at least for me, because it's in my neighborhood. I navigate this one all the time. And actually, the initial reason why I wanted to make a video about roundabouts was because in a previous video I made about cycling commuting to work, I was going through this roundabout. I went underneath And I was talking to someone and they were saying, oh, that's interesting. In the video, the idea that you could go up top with the cars, which of course is our right to do, but it's just more a matter of how safe is it or not. And as I said, I've been getting a little bit more used to it, despite the fact that the engineering is only for one form of transport, really. Okay, so here I go. So you have to take the lane a little bit, but I'm only on here for one. I'm only passing by one exit and then taking this one, so it's not too bad. Straight down the middle way, which will take me to a few other roundabouts on my way out to Stetchford. So I'm keeping kind of in the middle of the lane here because I don't want to turn left, and I'm gonna need to switch, use my hand signal over to this lane. Oh, not necessarily. Great, I can stay in this lane. Didn't quite realize that. Guess this has been reconfigured a little bit lately as well. Some fresh pave under me here. So, a further point here is that I noticed online and in conversation on Twitter with a couple of great local cycling campaigners, Shivaji Shiva and Patrick Wilcox, we were noting and commenting on the new roundabout that was just put in Cambridge recently, and it looks pretty good. It looks like a roundabout that, for once, was designed for more than just people who have cars. Designed for people on bikes, people walking, and it looks great. So then when I saw that and then we were discussing. It was so windy. We were discussing where the best place would be for a roundabout of this nature, one that's kind of for everybody in Birmingham. And we were talking about 5 ways as one. That was one I was putting forward, maybe parochially, because it's in my neighborhood. And I think it was Patrick who mentioned Hayden Circus, which I'll be passing by on this ride as well. So it's interesting to think about where, that's, as I pass each of these, just how thorough the need is for rethought roundabouts. Okay, I gotta keep in this lane because I'm not taking the first left. Okay, here we go. So this is the scary part, just out in the open. Takes some getting used to, and I can't say I'm used to it yet. But that went well. So yeah, so thinking about rethought roundabouts and how they can facilitate obviously different modes of travel, which for me and for many of us, I think the idea is it just makes it just basic fairness. Then everybody can access the roundabout safely. And obviously with the climate crisis, encouraging other modes of transportation is a good idea. And it's also like more than just fairness, it's a social justice issue. Because it's not just randomly one mode of transport favored over the other. It's in a hierarchy of who can afford cars and who is most likely to be negatively affected by their the damage that they cause, basically. And so that falls down along lines of race, class, and gender. So there's also a way that roundabouts, this kind of everyday infrastructure, connects to the broad hierarchies of this country. And so it's important for me to note here, as a white man making this trip, I have certain entitlements to the space, even though it can be dangerous as a cyclist, but that people with identities other than mine, who therefore sit differently in the structure of hierarchy of this country, would be, you know, that'd be the position they put that they would be in. So roundabouts actually connect a lot of issues. I mean, okay, I gotta catch my breath here, going up this hill. Okay, I'm waiting for this truck. Okay, good. Didn't want to get in the way of that dump truck or cement mixer. Okay, this is pretty good. Thank you. Nice courteous driver there. Okay, so how many roundabouts has that been so far? 3, I think. Gotta get into this middle lane. So, yeah, so it's a social justice issue. And, I mean, probably most obviously, a roundabout is an intersection, to use more North American terminology. And an intersection, of course, gives us the, you know, probably the most important metaphor we have for the interlocking structure of oppressions and privileges in a hierarchy, and that's of course intersectionality, term that the legal scholar Kimberly Crenshaw coined in thinking about, in a US legal studies context, thinking about the relationship between race and gender in particular. In that case, slipping into lecture mode here, but it's relevant. In that case, in the context of the situation in which black women in the US found themselves when appearing in legal settings. Now for us over here, and of course in North America as well, intersectionality is a very appropriate metaphor for a number of reasons for thinking about public space and infrastructure. Who benefits? Who are the costs put upon these kinds of questions? So when cyclists, which basically cyclists can be obviously a white middle-class man like me, thank you, but also just anybody with a bike. And some people ride bikes because they can't afford cars. And so that needs to be part of the equation, I guess, from my point of view, of our thinking on these things. Okay, so Anyways, yeah, so going back to something that prompted this ride, my conversation online with some people about where a half decent roundabout might go, or a more fair roundabout. They're called Cyclops roundabouts, the proper ones. Thank you. The ones that are kind of for everybody. I mean, they're for everybody. Not all motorists like them. Some do, as you've seen on this ride. I'm sure you've seen a few courteous motorists, which is really nice. Not all of them are, obviously. But what a Cyclops roundabout does is it takes that out of the equation. It doesn't matter if the motorist is courteous or not. The infrastructure, the design, and the rules decide on the way that the different modes of transportation need to interact. So that's why they're so important. Okay, so my goodness, if anyone's still watching this, should have said right at the beginning, if you want to see the new roundabout, you should have just skipped to the end, because I'm riding the whole way there and rambling as I go. And I'm passing these little roundabouts here as I go as well, which are all going pretty smoothly and easily. I don't know what it's like from the motorist point of view, but I imagine they also must be a bit stressful, because you're looking out for the other motorists in their cars, and then when a pedestrian is crossing, I've had this a lot of times. Left turn. A lot of times in my own travels through the city, it's not necessarily that the motorist is being rude, though that does happen, but they're just surprised because they weren't looking for pedestrians, and in one way, who could blame them? Because the entire design is meant for the fast flow of cars, so their mindset is sort of acclimatized as such. Then a pedestrian comes out, it seems like an intrusion, but actually it's just someone trying to get somewhere. So again, the new roundabout in Cambridge does all of that. It speaks to that situation. Okay, am I good? Yes, I am. Okay, keep over here, thank you. Now, I'm not quite sure where to go here. I need to get off the road for a second, I think. Because there's a cycle lane, I think. Oh, there is, yeah, in there. How do you get onto it, though? Climb over a fence. That doesn't seem so accessible. Again, I might be on a bike, and therefore at times feel somewhat vulnerable. But hopping over this fence obviously limits. I guess the idea is you have to cross up there. I mean, there looks like they're working on this roundabout anyway, so hopefully when they finish it, there'll be a smooth transition up to this little road and its cycle lane. Okay, so let's carry on. Yeah, well, his cycle lane's probably not very well used. I wonder why. Not connected to anything. Imagine if I have two kids, ages 7 and 9. I'm not even gonna use this. What's the point? What a total waste. Or, well, maybe I shouldn't be so critical. Maybe it's the start, and maybe it can be fixed and added to. But when cycle lanes are car parking, that's one problem. But also when they just begin and end randomly. If I was with my kids today, ages 7 and 9, we ride around the city. That's how we get places usually. Then how would we have got here? What good would that cycle lane have done us? Even if it didn't have cars parked in it. It would have given us 30 seconds of a little bit more feeling of safety amidst a ride that was otherwise totally dangerous and so stressful. Now what am I supposed to do here? Turn left? I'm not going on the pavement. No, that's not a helpful sign. Maybe that's for people who are going into the park. That sign, that didn't make any sense. Go onto the pavement. The sidewalk. Well, anyways. Okay, so I'm probably about halfway there. So another thing, I guess another reason for making this video and this is for like the 1 or 2 people who might still be watching at this point, but it's also because I know other people will make, and already do, make much better videos than me, but I'm interested to watch them. So I feel like making a contribution is part of being in the conversation, but it's also hugely in the hopes of hearing from other people. The more just sort of accounts we have of walking and cycling in the city, the more likely a perspective other than just everything is for cars can come through. So that's what I hope. I started watching videos like the one I'm making, except better, during lockdown when there's less to do, or less, you were at home more, I guess. And that combined with videos that people, so in all cities, so it's interesting to see walking videos of people just walking through cities. So interesting to see what other places look like, and again to see the experience of walking vis-a-vis other modes of transportation and what that looks like in different places. And in Birmingham, it always looks pretty bad, which is why it's nice that this Stetchford, well, we'll see, my hopes are not high, but why this Stetchford roundabout is maybe at least gesturing towards the idea that pedestrians shouldn't just have to scurry across, and maybe even people on bikes could have a bit of space as well. Some kind of celebration going on, that's nice. Okay, what do we have here? Go straight, I guess. Very good. Okay, well, they're doing some work here too. Maybe this part that I'm looking at here on the other side of the cones will be the bike lane when this one's done. Okay, oh, this simplifies things, just one lane. Okay, now comes the nice part, but again, if anyone's still watching this, maybe the boring part. It's no longer roundabouts, but for me, this will be the pleasant part of going through the green section of the route. Again, just skip to the end if you're here and you want to see the new roundabout. Because I imagine that that's what people were curious about. So the official opening was yesterday. There were officials on hand. But it seemed like the emphasis was very much about how it's going to make life easier for drivers who, again, from a cyclist or pedestrian point of view, seem to have it pretty good as it is in terms of the amount of care, attention, facilitation, and importantly, budget that is sent their way. So I think some of the commentary, you know, raised the induced demand issue, which, as I think most people know. Just let this person oncoming. I can go on the grass. Which, as most people know, is the situation. I don't think it's really a debate anymore, given how much evidence there is for it. You add space. I think everybody knows this. The road is congested. The drivers don't like it. They add more space for more cars. Then that space fills up with more cars, and it encourages more people to drive who otherwise might take the bus or whatever. And then you're back to square one over and over again. So then you end up with US interstate type infrastructure everywhere. I mean, I shouldn't say it's not a debate, because obviously so much of the new infrastructure bill in the US is not guided by the kind of idea of dealing with induced demand. It just seems to be facilitating it and exemplifying it. Could use a pedestrian and cyclist priority light here, but that's okay. Okay, I think I'll be there in about 10 more minutes. Oh, by the way, I'm riding this Specialized. I have two bicycles, neither of which are super fancy, but I have my single speed, which I had in my previous videos, and that was my only bike. And when I made those other videos, that was before I had this one. And this is an old bike from Canada, and it just took a while to get here and get assembled, and now it is. And so now I have the experience of gears again, of different gears, after several years. It's kind of nice for going up the hills. But I don't find Birmingham to be too hilly. Maybe it's because I come from Vancouver, North Vancouver in particular, which is mountains essentially, where a single speed would really not be feasible. Here, I find it's not bad. Okay. Good morning. Thank you. Yeah. Must be said though, these parts of the ride through the cyclists dismount. Why? Why dismount? I will. Wow. This crossing says a lot. And imagine what it could say differently. First of all, obviously take down that cyclist dismount sign. And then secondly, this should be priority for people who are going this way. Those folks who I just passed who are walking should be able to just continue to walk across here if that's the way they're going. And the car drivers who are sitting, especially if it's raining or if it's cold, sitting in their warm cars, they could just wait a second while people cross the road. So it's not just roundabouts that need fixed. But anyways, look at how lovely this is. Yes, it's always a lot of sort of dangerous sections, especially for people who are traveling with children or other members of their family who might not be comfortable riding in the dangerous roads, who want to get to a place like this. The problem is getting here. But my goodness, once you're here, it's so nice. There are a lot of nice rides in Canada, but there's something about the English countryside ride within the city, which is such a nice feature of Birmingham and riding here. Thank you. Okay, cross here. Okay, so a light at this one. Better, I guess, than dismount and wait, but still, 2 lights. Wait twice to cross one road. Okay. And that person I just passed there, who might be doing a delivery, also reminds me of just such a crucial aspect of the intersectionality of public space and mobility infrastructure, is that I have time today to go on this ride. Because of my job, I'm able to have some flexibility and make time for something like this. Obviously, many of the people who are on the road are doing it, maybe, you know, commuting because they're on more of an essential journey. They need to get somewhere. I mean, I'm on this ride today, a day or two after a doctor was just killed in London by a motorist riding their bike at a junction where 7, I think, cyclists have been killed in recent years. Nothing done to protect them. A doctor trying to get to work or trying to see a client, a doctor, a children's doctor. I mean, each, as people have pointed out in the discussion around this, obviously each life is equally valuable. And so also true for the others who were killed at that intersection in London. It's just the absurdity of not seeing to it anyways, let alone letting this many people die and presumably more before they do something about it. It's so hard to understand. Well, actually it's not. That's the even more depressing part, is it's not hard to understand. It's about a hierarchy. Okay. Oh, what's going on here? This person's just pulling out, I think. Yeah or no? Just parked here? Okay. Okay. I've been through this tunnel before. If there is a tunnel in this city that's crying out for a traffic filter, my goodness, just one bollard. That's all you need. Fix that one. And I say that as someone I've gone through there with my kids before on our bikes, and it was just risky. And why should people's lives be at risk because they're trying to get somewhere? My goodness. Okay. It's also the question here of, let's just hope I can remember the way. I looked at the map before I left. It's a right turn here, I'm sure. I guess we'll see. Okay. One more. Can I go? Can I go? Yes. I don't know. Sometimes the small roundabouts seem trickier than than the big ones. Wow. And this again is why I'd love to see other people's videos about cycling in Birmingham. I want to see what it looks like, and I want to hear what other people's experiences are as they go. So this is also making me think about another reason why the Cyclops style roundabouts are good, like the one in Cambridge, is because they make space for all modes. Then it simply raises the issue. Okay, nothing for cyclists here that I can see. Wow, I don't even get this. How has this got anything to do with cycling or walking? It's the same old story. They painted a line on the sidewalk back there. Is that it? Oh boy, my hopes were not high. You couldn't see properly in the video what it was, but this is not boding well. So anyways, with the cyclist ones, you know, with the Cyclops ones, I should say, because it accommodates all modes have to approach and leave the roundabout in their own infrastructure designed for them, which sort of commits. Okay, I'll come back to this point, it's not that important. Here we are. Is this? Okay, I'm gonna go right around. Is this it? Is this actually it? So it's just totally dangerous, and it has nothing for cyclists or pedestrians. My goodness, unbelievable. Maybe I'm gonna try a different approach here. See what's up on the other side there. So basically, it looks like the entire point of this was to make it faster for people in cars, and then they, instead of giving space to cyclists or pedestrians, they just divided the pedestrian space with a line, suggesting that bikes should ride on the pavement there. My goodness. This is not a Cyclops configuration, and I didn't expect it to be, because they would have made more fanfare about that. And again, I'm not a road designer. Let me just see where this car is going. Oh, gonna wait and see. Is police coming? Let them through. Okay. Bikes are so much better than cars at getting out of the way of emergency vehicles. I'll just add. Anyways. So yeah, okay, I guess that's the cycling part over there. Yeah, I guess no wonder they didn't emphasize it in the video. Okay, I'll just cruise around this one. So again, I'm no traffic engineer. If someone is watching this, maybe they can point out. I'm just talking about what this is like from the perspective of one cyclist, just one person's experience. But the thing is, I'm not a road engineer, and I don't have to be. You shouldn't have to be a road engineer to be able to use the roads. So the experience of someone who's traveling on a bicycle is legitimate in and of itself, just like the experience of someone riding by other modes of transportation. But I raise this to say that maybe I'll just pull in here to end this video. That maybe if anyone does see this and they know more than me, maybe they can point out some technical reasons why this is something other than a complete missed opportunity, and why it's the case that such poor provision has been made here for anybody traveling not in a car. I mean, they could at least have given pedestrian priority at the crossings. Well, who am I to say? Let me just turn this around to say goodbye and just say, yeah, the last thing I was just saying is that the thing about the Cyclops ones that's great is they sort of commit whoever puts one in to also making actual cycle lanes that go to and from. So if we go back to 5 ways near where I began, imagine a Cyclops roundabout at 5 ways. It would also mean that the middle ways would necessarily need to have cycle lanes as well, which they badly need. So there's another extra reason why they're a great form of kind of design, but they don't help motorists. And I guess the motorist vote has determined, or the motorist voice, or the car lobby, or whatever you want to call it, has determined the way that things have gone here. So there it is. There's my roundabout video. And here's what the new roundabout in Stetchford looks like. That was long, my goodness. Okay, thanks for coming along. If you did, see you later.